And that is what it looks like when Christie, the governor of New Jersey, goes and presses the flesh, talks to the people, runs for office. He's a pretty good retail politician, and he's also part of a new brand that the Republican Party is trying to put forward that is very much a part of Mitt Romney's strategy to win the presidential election this year. And this is Power Play, and welcome back to Tampa, where we are continuing to have very great fun. And for the Republicans, the deal is this. They need a Romney Republicanism. What's a Romney Republican? What does that look like? Well, this convention is part of trying to put an argument forward about what a Romney Republican looks like. And Christie is a big, big, big part of that. So let's break this down. Let's put it into perspective. You all know Ford O'Connell, one of your very favorite Republican strategists. He's the chairman of Civic Forum PAC, former advisor to McCain campaign, Republican people everywhere listen to Ford. And our friend Kirsten Powers is with us, which makes us very happy. She's a columnist for the Daily Beast. She's a Fox News contributor. You also can read her in USA Today, where she writes stuff too. Welcome back.
Hello. Okay,
so the deal for the Republicans is this. Their brand, not so hot in 2008. Not a super happy brand for the GOP, which was basically like Iraq, Katrina, and economic implosion. Was not where they needed to be. McCain tried a rebranding in 2008. Didn't start in time, didn't get the message out. But you can see with such deliberateness in this convention, this brand of reform republicanism, pragmatic sort of Christie, take on the labor union, Scott Walker kind of government reform is what they're selling. Two questions. One, can they make that stick? And two, is that what America actually wants? Let's start with you, madam.
Well, definitely Americans want reform in government. The faith in government is at a historical low, and it's been low for a while, but it's continued to drop. And Obama's done nothing in terms of restoring those numbers. So I think that is something that people want. The question is, how far do they want him to go?
Right.
What I'm interested to see is I really, truly, and I'm not saying this to be cute, don't know who Mitt Romney is. And I don't know, is he the moderate governor from Massachusetts, or is he this person who's going to align himself more with sort of the Paul Ryan, really aggressive reformist movement? And I'm inclined to think he's probably going to split it in the middle, that he's not going to be quite as radical as maybe Paul Ryan would be if he was president, but he will be more methodical and careful and probably not do things as quickly, perhaps, as some in the conservative movement would want him to.
So Romneyism, Romney Republicanism, if you would have asked somebody in 2008, what is it? The answer would have been business. It would have been a pro-business thing. Now he's trying to graft forward the concept of, I want to do an economic turnaround. And I wrote today in the Power Play, which in fact I just tweeted for you. I just gave it to you, Internet. I just threw it out there for you. And you can follow me at C Stirewalt to get that. You can also yell at me here on the Internet directly if you want. But Ford, my point is that Romney is using this reform conservatism that we were just talking about as sort of like his ISO 9000 or his version of Lean Sigma 6. Like if he's a corporate turnaround artist, he comes in and he finds Paul Ryan and he finds these guys and says, okay, I'm going to use your thing and I'm going to implement this as my tool to get to my thing, which is economic growth.
That's right, and I think the principle that's sort of underlying that is basically being principled but practical. And I think we see that with the polarized electorate, and we see that with the gridlock in Washington. And I think that's why someone like Chris Christie is great to kick this convention off, because here's someone who comes from an Arctic Blue union-run state. And to get things
Arctic
done,
Blue, I like that.
He has had to sort of work across the aisle but still hold to his guns. And I think that sort of rough and tumble, call it like I see it, while being self-deprecating towards an end goal is going to be very key. I expect him to hit it out of the park and really set the tone for Romney and Ryan going forward. And you know, if he does that, I think we're going to have a whole new sort of narrative moving forward, particularly with the viewership we're going to have. Because really, I think Kirsten's right. A lot of people don't know a heck of a lot about Mitt Romney. And right now is really the three most important days of his political life. And the question is whether or not he can hit it out of the park. And if he does, I expect a 5-point bounce. And that is what we're going to need, because if he doesn't get that and we sort of fail at this convention, I don't like his odds in the debates, because he won't just need a good performance, he's going to need a superior performance. And President Obama is pretty tough on the debate podium.
You know why we like Ford? Because he calls strikes on his own team. That's why we like that. We like people who call the balls and strikes like they are. Kirsten, the challenge for Mitt Romney has been all along, he sort of default is a strong word, but he survived his way. It was a war of attrition that led him to the Republican nomination. Arguments about electability, and survived. His conservative challengers kept imploding and going down in giant balls of flame, and he made it. And Republicans thought he was electable, and he survived. But he is, as Ford points out, and you point out, blue state, moderate Republican governor of Massachusetts, not an ideologue. He's leading a party now that is mostly Southern, very conservative, and staunchly social conservative. So Christie is a popular figure inside the Republican Party, but his views don't match up with what the Republican Party base is, right?
Right, but he's probably more can appeal to the general electorate, which is what Romney needs to do.
Right.
He doesn't. The base is going to vote for Mitt Romney. They're not voting for Barack Obama. They're very riled up. They're very enthusiastic because they hate Obama so much. So what he has to do now is trying to appeal to those swing voters and start convincing them that he's not the extremist that the Obama campaign is trying to portray him as. Which I don't think he is an extremist, and I think, in many ways, we don't know what the makeup of the Congress is going to be.
Right.
But one thing we can say is that the Republican Party is much more homogenous than the Democratic Party now. They're just totally lockstep, and I think.
Wait.
Well, I would disagree with that, and I think that's one of the things that Christie brings there is that he's a fighter.
No, I'm talking about Congress.
No, and I understand that, but what I'm trying to say is being a fighter is still part of that being principled and practical. We're going to have to work across the lines. There's no way that anything's ever going to get done without that.
But the difference is, I really believe that Obama cannot work with that Congress, whereas I think Romney would be able to find some conservative Democrats. The Democratic Party is not as homogenous. Like, there actually are conservative people in the Democratic Party. Now, there are a lot fewer of them than there used to be.
And there's about to be a lot fewer still, because what we've seen in recent cycles, the way it used to be, there's some moderate Republicans made it in 2010. But basically what we're getting to is it's not just ideological polarization, it's geographical polarization. You find me the Democrats in the South, you find me those guys.
The blue dogs are gone.
The blue dogs are almost extinct. And in the North, occasionally you see Republicans get in, but in states like New York, New Hampshire, that used to have considerable Republican presidents, Republicans did pretty well in New York in 2010. But the Gulf,
and in Pennsylvania,
the Gulf gets wider and wider and wider.
The Democrats don't have a Scott Brown type. I mean, we really do have some of those that are going in there. And now, thanks to this sort of primary system that's going to go on in California, we're going to lose a few of those too. I do agree that both sides are getting more polarized, and therefore it's important to be able to work across those lines. And because we know that nothing is going to get done unless you can sell it to Congress, and to both sides it's sort of, look, this is practical, but you're still holding to your guns. And I think that that's very important.
All right, I got to ask you, Ann Romney, what's she got to do tonight?
She has to humanize him. That's the biggest thing. If you look at the recent Gallup poll where they asked, who do you trust on the economy?
We can see her right now, as a matter of fact. Well, you can't see her.
I can't
but
see her.
The internet can
She's
see her right now.
practicing.
She's taking her turn at the podium and being happy and smiley and pretty and doing that stuff. So there she is.
She has to humanize him because his likability numbers are low. Does he care about people like me are low. Of course Obama's doing better with women because Democrats always do better with women. But look, I think it's something like 33% of women are independents.
Right.
So there are women that he can appeal to, and I think that she is, definitely his secret weapon on that front. I think the interview that you saw that Chris did on Fox News Sunday,
just watch part of it.
Definitely helped. They're just a really cute couple. They're really sweet. He clearly really loves her, respects her.
She loves him.
She has to humanize him, and Chris Christie's job is to show that he's the solution for the future. It's really a 1-2 punch, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Boom, boom. It will be interesting to see how it plays out, and we'll be watching it play out. We'll give the last word to Mock Tank, who says, they say, Chris Wallace and others say that she needs to humanize him. I did not know that Mitt was an android. Well, all right, so we thank you for that comment.